Yo, what is up, guys? Joke here bringing you another video. This is going to be a video on Albion Online. At this point, I put a little over 100 hours into it, so I wanted to give my new player impressions of it and if I feel like it's worth playing in 2023. In case you're unaware, Albion Online is an open world sandbox MMO that focuses heavily on PvP. There is a large amount of content that you can do in quote unquote safe zones where you essentially don't lose any of your loot if you die, but majority of the game is based around full loot PvP where you risk your gear against other players in essentially death matches to get the vast majority of fame, which is experience, and silver, which is the money. With that being said, for every dangerous activity there is in Albion Online, there is a safe zone equivalent, meaning that you will not lose all your items if you die doing the safe zone content. The most that will happen is you'll be knocked down prone for like 30 seconds, and your gear will lose some of its durability. On top of that, the economy in Albion Online is entirely player driven. Every item that you find is an item that was crafted by another player and put into the loot system through the black market, which is in one of the major cities called Leon, where an NPC will buy items off players and it puts them into the drop pool. So it's a really cool system there where the gatherers and crafters are a necessity because of the fact that they need to make gear for the PvPers to go die with. Because when you die with gear, there's a percentage chance that it's going to break, taking it out of the economy. So the crafters and gatherers sitting in yellow zones are just as valuable as the players that are doing and engaging in the dangerous content. Now, with all of that out of the way, my personal opinion, do I feel like you should play Albion Online in 2023 in the game's current state? I would have to say no. I'm going to explain this in the pros and cons, but at the end of the day, it is up to you. If you like this type of game, a full loop PvP, or if you like what you see in the clips or like what you've seen around YouTube, feel free to give it a shot. It may be for you. I just personally didn't have the best experience, and that's why I'm not recommending it. One of the pros for Albion Online is going to be the accessibility. This game is completely cross platform, so you are able to play on mobile as well as PC, allowing a large amount of accessibility in case you're not able to sit at your computer for a large amount of time. Another pro for Albion Online is going to be the freedom of choice. You are able to do whatever you want. If you like gathering and crafting, you're able to play that way. If you like PvP and PvE, you're able to do that. If you want to just be a merchant and sit at the trade post buying and selling items, you're able to do that as well. Last pro is going to be the group play. If you're the type of player that likes to interact with guilds or has a group of friends that like starting up games together, Albion Online is going to be good for you there as well, since a large majority of the content is based around medium to large group gameplay. There's huge clan wars that are constantly happening, as well as a big emphasis on group PvP and group dungeons. So if you like playing in groups or clans, this may be a pro for you as well. Starting the cons off really strong is going to be the emphasis on pay to win. This game has one of the largest pay to win systems I have ever seen. You can swipe for literally everything in the game. You do not have to play the game as long as you can pay. You're able to buy gold, which can buy silver, which can buy EXP and gear. So there's literally no reason for you to play if you have a big enough wallet. You don't have to grind at all. Up next, we have the stupidest thing, in my opinion, the non required, required subscription. As you can see with the premium, with the amount of benefits you get from it, it is a required subscription. It essentially soft locks your ability to use the crafting system, and it soft locks your ability to build a personal economy because you have to have at least 4 days of premium to buy an island. And that's where you're going to get your passive income from. It is impossible for you to buy any less than 1 month of premium with silver, and a new player is never going to be able to get 22 million silver. It's physically impossible. So it essentially soft locks you out of a big portion of the game, on top of the fact that it gives you huge bonuses towards loot and silver, as well as cutting the tax on the marketplace in half. It is insane that they literally give this an optional title, but it locks like 30% of the game or makes you grind 3 times as hard if you don't have it. Oh, did I mention that all of the rewards are locked behind premium as well? So that's also something stupid. My third con is going to be the amount of bots in this game. I know every MMO nowadays has a large botting problem. However, this has one of the more rampant botting problems because it's not just RMTers that are using these bots for like gathering and messing up the economy like that. It's also regular players and clans that use several scouting bots to go ahead and notify them when players with a certain amount of wealth leave a zone, as well as they have these bots just scattered throughout the open world. It is a little depressing since a large amount of the player base does acknowledge it, and a subset of the player base just ignores it and says, oh, those are just players with low spec. No one's sitting naked in open zones. Okay. So the botting problem is just something that's out of hand, and I don't know why SBI just doesn't do anything about it. My second to last complaint really is going to be the build diversity being non existent. Out of the hundreds of items in Albion Online, to be competitive, there's literally only a handful of items that are constantly being used, and it's kind of stupid in my opinion. I know when there's a meta, there's always going to be a top of the meta, but if you look at this, it's the same 3 or 4 items for 90% of the sets. They don't balance correctly. And the last thing that I'm going to mention as a con is the misinformation and the toxicity in the community. Essentially, a lot of the information you find about Albion Online is either outdated or intentionally incorrect because they want new players to struggle because it is easier to kill you when you don't know what you're doing. So, a lot of times, a lot of videos will give inaccurate tips, or they'll just be flat out wrong, and you'll be able to find multiple videos directly contradicting each other. So as a new player, you don't know who's telling the truth and who's lying. Apart from that, the toxicity in the community is high, like very high. Majority of the time, the open world chat is just nothing but slurs. So you couple the toxicity with the information with the bots, and for a large amount of people, it's not going to be a good time. That's why I was saying that I really don't recommend this, at least in its current state, to new players. All right, and rounding out the video, if I had to give Albion a solid rating, I would probably give it a 3 or 4 out of 10 right now. The fact that a large amount of the quality of life and about 30% of the mechanics are locked behind your wallet is ridiculous, in my opinion. The level of toxicity and misinformation is ridiculous. The tutorial is a joke. The game itself is all right, but I just can't recommend it. But that's pretty much it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay up to date with this and future content. And until next time, take care.